life story like Black Rob drinking OE. That brolic shit broken down like Matt Hardy. See through these eyes and people my mind see. It's fucked up, ain't it? No need to remind me, but let me get to it. The stupid shit I was doing left other men dead of their lives, it's just ruined. From ODs to stick-ups going wrong, I stay sharp. Can think the way my mind think, dog, you not evolved. Used to snip pills out straws in bathroom stalls. Self-loathing scar, give me anything, I get it off. Coke pills, weed, shrooms, you name it, I sold it. And I ain't proud of that, that's why I never fucking told you keep this shit real. Had a problem with blue pills, was hustling a product, that product could got me killed.
What up, Corner Crew? Welcome back to Culture Corner Wrestling. I am your host, as always, Brad Bailey. My co-host, Charlotte Mental. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Episode number 10. Episode number 10. We made it to double digits. Woo! We can talk shit now. We're old enough to talk some shit back and still get slapped. But how's it going, brother? How you doing?
Man, I can't complain at all. Just living life, working, doing music, doing these pods. You know, just running my yapper.
I feel you. Yeah, we've had a busy week. We've had a busy month already. We've had a busy year already. 2024, we're back. And we got a lot to talk about, man. And right off the bat, the biggest news, in the past couple of weeks has been Tony Khan and his Twitter fingers, man. This dude he's kind of getting outrageous with it. And we've talked about him a lot in the past on this show about how he really needs to hire people that know what they're doing. And he's kind of a pushover and he's all these other things. But now he's just making himself look even worse. And he's trying to hinder Jinder. And I know Jinder's your boy, man. Oh, shit. So,
Yeah.
Shaw, I know you have a lot to say about it. So run.
Yeah, it's like I'm a huge AEW supporter, but I'm also a big fan of Jinder Mahal, which sounds weird to people. But I don't know. I like the guy. I just like he is so different than everybody else out there because of who he is. To me, so just to give you a little idea maybe why is I'm a big fan of the Sheik. I'm a big fan of Sabu, and Jinder is although different, the modern day Indian superstar, even though he's from Canada.
Right.
That's his gimmick.
Right. And he does the foreign heel well too. When he's in the foreign heel role, he does it well.
When given the opportunity, he does what he's asked at a high level, I think. I know a lot of people criticize his championship run that he had, but I honestly enjoyed the shit out of that. That was fun to me, and it was very old school wrestling at the time, which was great. And it went against people's expectations. And anytime you do that, I like that. Anything unexpected in wrestling is great because it's so hard for you to really surprise people. Which when the thing with The Rock happened with Jinder, when they were hyping it up, the former WWE champion's going to be coming back to Raw, and his music hit, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm because nobody, because I know how people perceive him, and I'm the complete opposite. So to me, it made it even better because I was yeah, give those people the middle finger because when his music hit and they got those crowd shots of the people in the crowd oh, it's Jinder.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and it was great. It made for great television. Then he comes out and he cut a really good foreign heel modern promo, a modern foreign heel promo.
Right.
And he did really well, and he spoke a lot of truth in it. And then it was perfectly set up for The Rock because when The Rock's music hit, you just saw that pop. They got the crowd. The crowd was here, we'll say. Then the crowd was here, and then The Rock hits, and they're up here.
Right.
It was perfect crowd manipulation. It was quite genius, and I think that we don't see enough of that type of stuff these days. Because of the dirt sheets and everything. Everything gets out ahead of time and things like that. So it was great in that aspect because none of the rumors were oh, it's going to be Jinder.
Right.
A lot of people are oh, it could be this guy. It could be this guy. It might be The Rock. But nobody really, I didn't read a lot about it even being The Rock necessarily.
And Tony just starts going and shitting on him right away.
Well, so it started though well, let's preface this by Tony. A lot of the times in the past on Twitter and in interviews and the press scrum, the media scrums and all that has, I believe it's cagematch.net. They have this like rating system where fans can rate matches. And Tony, a lot of the time when trying to big up his company and make point out things that they do well in and things like that, points to those ratings for their matches a lot of the time. So whoever controls USA's Monday Night Raw on USA account, keep in mind this is not like a WWE account, this is a USA Network account, made a tweet saying, I wonder what something about like, I wonder what cagematch.net rated that match or something about that. Something about Tony Khan was talking about. And as we know, he lost his damn mind and started making fun of Jinder and saying, oh, and what he initially started out with is true if somebody was offended or whatever, didn't think that Hook deserves the match against Joe.
Right.
However,
if a win-loss record actually mattered, then yes, there'd be an issue.
So, right. And I didn't see a lot of people really arguing against it online, to be honest with you. Because initially you think about it and you're like, oh, that's kind of like a mismatch. Joe's like, he's Joe and Hook is Hook. And I'm not downplaying Hook at all. However, just in the current zeitgeist and how we view wrestlers, it doesn't, in your mind, he's going to get squashed, basically.
Right, exactly.
But I didn't hear a lot of rumblings of people really, taking a dump on that per se. However, Tony Khan must have, because the way he responded was like, pointed out that it made less sense for Jinder to get the number one contender match against Seth Rollins a week after being embarrassed by The Rock after not being around for a year, and the last time he was losing all his matches except for like a handful maybe. And he did have a valid point in that aspect, but at the same time, Jinder Mahal is an ex-WWE champion, and that should afford you some caveat to where we can overlook the fact that he's coming back to challenge, even though he hasn't been, having the best of luck lately. You could look at AJ Styles and say the same thing in a way, because to me, he's taken a lot of losses over the last like 2.5, 3 years, to where like AJ Styles in WWE doesn't have the same caveat it did at that time.
Right.
When he was big. So I feel like they've kind of over time chopped away at his credibility as a main event act as well. Although he is involved now, which is good. But man, Tony needs to just like stay off of social media. And if you're going to be on social media, like I'm gonna relate this back to like something I kind of put into use when I'm dealing with like myself with music and things like that. I try not to talk negatively about really anybody else's music, whether they're mainstream or underground, just because I feel like when you project these negative things out into the world and maybe you're not on that same level as that person, you just look like a bitter asshole, and that's going to prevent you from ever getting to that status that you may be striving for, even though you're criticizing people who are already there.
There's a way to criticize respectfully, and then there's a way to shit on someone, and
They
there's
can
a
be
way
constructive.
yeah, exactly, and there's ways to take it too, and Tony takes things way too he thinks it's like it's all real life to him. I get he's running a company, I get that there's a lot of money at stake, but he chose this path, so you
Right.
got to be able to take them punches. It's like a fighter, man. You can't walk in the octagon
Yeah.
and get punched in the face and say, "Oh shit, stop hitting me like that."
Right. And to my point, it's like I try to look at like my social media as my promotional tool. It's not there for me to use as my own therapy or like soapbox necessarily. Sometimes yes, just to, you could say some things that are, you want to make jokes and stuff that are a little bit soapboxy in a way, but like I try not to use it as my platform to diminish other people or what they're doing, even if they are competition, because to me that makes me look bitter and like a cornball.
Mm.
And that's the thing that Tony Khan is really doing a lot lately, where it's like, dude, just stay off of social media and shut up. And then I'd say my other issue with him, and I'm sure we've heard the things about the whole Kylie Ray situation.
Mm.
We don't know much of anything. We talked about it briefly, I believe, previously. But the way Tony Khan answered those questions in that media scrum after the pay-per-view was just like, dude, if you're not going to answer the questions, don't come out there and even have the press conference. Why are you wasting everybody's time with this crap? If you're not going to answer these questions honestly and truthfully, or at least in some sort of professional manner that lets us know, hey, like, I can't right now. Handle it like the GM of like the Boston Celtics or like a professional sports team would handle those type of questions. Like, for instance, like the owner and GM of the Memphis Grizzlies when Ja Morant was going through all his gun flashing issues and whatnot. Like, look to those situations in actual professional sports and then handle it like they do.
He
Don't
hasn't even taken Jericho off TV. Like, there's been no type
right,
of
and
any
maybe he shouldn't be
investigation.
taken off TV. We don't
Yeah,
know
who
enough to
knows?
take him off
Right,
TV. It's all
exactly.
hearsay at this point.
There's been nothing done about it, though, it seems. Seems
Unless
Tony had
maybe there
no
was though, and we are not aware.
right. It would get out, though, the way everything leaks. That's like the
Eventually. But maybe
everything.
that's why we're hearing about it now. And
Mm.
we're just not hearing the details because that hasn't got out.
Now
You know?
now he's getting knocked out by who was it? Who knocked him out?
MVP.
MVP knocked him
Yeah.
out 4 years ago on his own cruise, and I mean, you can already kinda guess how Jericho
Yeah, I
carries
can
himself.
imagine why that happened based
Yeah,
on
the
his
type of
wife getting
person that
arrested
he is.
and being there on January 6th or whatever it was at the
Right.
Capitol. So I mean, like,
You can just tell how he carries himself in his
yeah,
social media and all that.
and
Who
they
knows?
had the social media interaction too with each other like a year ago or so, which that was involving some Trump like stuff on. I
Mm,
want to say Trump like because Chris Jericho has never come out and actually supported this stuff himself, but his wife
right.
obviously is a big
Right, but
supporter. Believe
by
it or not.
extension you know how that goes in the eye of
Right.
society. By extension, it is what it is.
Like, kind of. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I could not be with a woman who believed what those people believe.
Mm.
And that's not because I'm a Democrat, like a leftist, a liberal, or whatever people say. I'm right down the middle. Like, for me, it's very simple. It's like when it comes to business, I think like a Republican. When it comes to what people want to do with their lives and how they want to live them, I think Democrat. It's pretty simple. Like, live and let live, but let's not spend money like a bonehead. I
Right.
mean, it's pretty simple. And I think that there's such a dichotomy that's being created nowadays where it's like it's either one or the other, and you can't really to a lot of people you can't blur those lines, but it's
Mm.
such a stupid way of thinking.
That's
um
those
and
are
I can see why
those
somebody would
are
want to punch
topics
somebody
for a
over.
totally different show, my friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have that show. Let's talk about. We air Mondays
Good
live,
plug. Good plug.
6
I
p.m.
like that.
I'm getting
You're
good, man. I'm
welcome.
getting good. Hell yeah, I'm getting good.
But yeah,
But
but point being though, it's like you have all these things going on behind the scenes at AEW. There's so many leaks and everything, and it seems like everything social media wise that isn't a promotional type thing, which is all he should be putting out at this
mm,
point. That's not on anything that's on his that involves AEW should be promotional stuff that he's just sharing from the AEW account, because it doesn't seem like these comments and everything that he does anything to help his situation or his company's situation.
no, not at all. Not at all. He not only does he need a booker, and he needs a handler. That's even worse, man. He needs somebody. He needs a manager to manage him. It's wild. He really does. He needs somebody to keep him in check because he's going to end up tanking his own company just by not knowing how to handle himself socially.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because he's involved with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the football team, and they're
Mm,
actually on the come up right now.
mm,
Like, they had a much better season this year than they've had in prior seasons, and things are looking up for them as a team. So he already has examples that he can go to, that he's literally doing business with himself on the Jaguars side of things, where he has examples of how to handle things. And I don't know if maybe he just has a different idea. Maybe he thinks all publicity is good publicity, no matter what it is, whether it's bad, good, indifferent, whatever. Maybe that's why he does it. Me personally, I just don't understand it. I think it just fuels more negativity online, and to people like ourselves and all the other podcasts, your Jim Cornette's, your whoever. I don't really see any people in that area saying, "Oh, this is helping things.
No,
This is
not at
helping
all.
AEW." It's not.
Mm.
I will say though, I don't know if you saw this the other day, but Warner Brothers Discovery actually put out a couple announcements, just like bigging up AEW and what the numbers they've been doing and stuff like that. So I think that this whole idea of WWE Raw going over to Warner Brothers Discovery is way overblown. And I think the reason they did that was to say, hey, no, like all that shit you've heard about us giving up on them and like us not being happy with them, this, that, and the third, this isn't true. Like, to me, that's what that told me. I was like, all right, I don't necessarily take all that as seriously as maybe I would have before. I think it was a lot of hot air being blown. Maybe they did look into it. Maybe at one point they were like, well, we could do, say, AEW on TNT and WWE on TBS, or AMC. Like, they have more than just those two channels. There's AMC. They have a lot of channels. So who knows what they were thinking at that time. But those tweets tell me that I think they're behind AEW. And like a lot of people have been saying for a long time, they may even have a small piece of AEW that they own that we're not aware of. We don't really know the ins and outs of that. For all we know, Cody still has a 10% stake. Who knows?
And with going to Warner Brothers, they could move over their streaming service to Max. Max could put out all their past stuff, and it's a good deal for them. It's a good deal for both sides.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen though. I think either they're going to stay with NBC Universal on some level, whether it be Hulu or wait, no, sorry, that's Disney. But yeah, I don't know. I think they either maybe go to Hulu with Disney or something like that, or maybe Amazon Prime. But I really see them sticking with a traditional cable outlet. I don't see them going to streaming.
Who knows, man? It all depends on what Tony Khan tweets next. That's all. He could tank himself in one tweet. It's crazy. Hopefully he starts learning his lesson after all this backlash. But let's move on.
I hope so too, because they've really been on a great run recently, as far as I'm concerned. As far as like the choice of matches and the match quality and everything with the whole tournament they just did. I mean, I like seeing Joe as a champion. He's deserved it. I mean, he's been an NXT champion, TNA champion, Ring of Honor. I don't know if he was Ring of Honor champion, but regardless,
Yeah, he was.
Joe should have been a WWE champion at one point. And obviously, the only person standing in his way was Brock Lesnar. I mean, that is what it is.
Right.
Which honestly, I enjoyed that whole run up to that anyway, because I was just like, holy shit, Joe is actually he's getting in there with Brock Lesnar. No matter what happens after this, I'm just happy I got to see this. Same when it was Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. Those were matches that I was just like, oh man, I don't even like Brock Lesnar, but I was like, these are ones that I would pay to see with Brock Lesnar in it. And other than these matches, I don't want to see any Brock Lesnar.
So let's move on, man. The Rock came back.
Yes.
I think they're gonna sneak him into the WrestleMania main event, man. I really do.
They could. I don't know. I mean, me personally, whatever happens, if Cody doesn't finish the story at some point within the next like year and a half, I'm going to be really disappointed. At the same time, though, I'm not going to be surprised, because then I'm just going to be like, all right, I mean, it is WWE. They're known to do these things. I just didn't expect it from Triple H.
What I was thinking about this scenario the other day with Cody and The Rock. What if it doesn't have to be at WrestleMania? If he wins the title, just winning the title is enough, I think, to end Cody's story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's the point. It's not WrestleMania main event. That was never mentioned. It's just the championship. So, what if they do sneak The Rock in? He beats Reigns at WrestleMania, becomes head of the table, WWE champion once again, blah, blah, blah. And then at SummerSlam, Cody versus Rock. Cody finishes story against the real, like the other two families of wrestling. He's the top dog of that family, blah, blah.
I'd be
That
okay
could
with
work.
it as long as he at some point gets to face Roman and beat Roman.
See, that's the catch-22 of the whole thing. That's what people want to see. They want to see him beat Roman. But
Right.
I think WWE, just to make that money, because it's going to make money if you put The Rock in there against Roman at
Right.
WrestleMania, and then it's going to make money at SummerSlam with Cody and The Rock.
Right. But how do you get from WrestleMania to SummerSlam with The Rock as your champion?
Exactly. That's
Is
another.
Rock taking a break from acting and just handling the UFL and then making his
No,
WWE appearances? I mean,
no, he's
maybe.
going to show up once every month until the time comes. That's what he's going to do. So it's the fans would have to either swallow it and go with it, because I mean you could do a story through it, but The Rock has to be there for it. Unless they do like a heel turn on The Rock and he's the heel going in, and now he runs the bloodline, and then they have who is it, Solo and Roman go against him in that meantime from WrestleMania to SummerSlam. That'd be like one of the only ways you could do it with an absentee Rock.
See, that's the thing. I don't want an absentee anything. I feel like
Right.
when you have absentee champions, it just makes for bad TV.
That
Like,
hurts.
look at all those times, and this is one of the reasons I don't like Brock Lesnar. And it's not even like I don't like Brock Lesnar. I don't like when Brock Lesnar has a championship because it just it ruins whatever. If he's on Raw, it ruins Raw for months on end. If it's SmackDown, he ruins SmackDown on end. It it leads to a lot of monotonous television because there's like you're just spinning your wheels until Brock comes back, and it's like the top of the card gets very stale when they have those situations. So I would want full time Rock. If he's not going to do full time, then just show up for your big match and that's it. Like,
Right.
and your one off appearance here or there on Raw, or SmackDown, and just stay away.
Right.
And I mean, my thought is, I think as a fan, I want to see The Rock go over on Roman. However, I think the WWE's thinking and The Rock's thinking might even be it's time to put over the next guy and make the next generation star.
Mm.
And they could, like you said, if they have Rock turn heel, then I think they could pull the double switch and try to make Roman a babyface again. And
But
then
is it worth it? Is a babyface Rome, because he's part-time too. So
I think
it's
now
somebody's gonna get screwed, and I think it's gonna be Cody. I really do. I don't think Cody's
it
seeing the main
feels
event.
like, but I think now after this run that Roman's been on as the head of the table and doing this whole heel act so good, I think now he's endeared himself to that certain section of the audience, like myself, who's just
Yeah, the
like, come on, like,
anti-hero.
enough of this. Stop jamming him down our throat as the superhero guy. Like, we don't buy it. This guy's a prick. Like, but now that he's bought into it, I feel like he can still keep that heelish, prickish thing going, but in a babyface way, like an Austin or a Rock would. I think now that he's done the heel thing so well, I think he has that caveat now where he's kind of earned that respect from a lot of people. Like, I would be okay with it now. I'm not saying I'd be buying his t-shirts and like showing up, just for him, but now I'd accept it a lot more and I would not necessarily boo it every time.
Yeah, a lot of people would accept it for sure, but it's not. It's just not worth it for having The Rock and Reigns, because one's gonna be gone, maybe for good. He'll never come back after this time. Who
Well, that's
knows?
why you got to have more than one match. It's got to be a
Right,
series of matches.
right,
I
and
feel like if you're gonna do, you got to do at least two. And to me, the perfect way to do it would probably be have The Rock win the first one, have Reigns win the second one, because that you can create the whole like oh, you lost the first one. This is the only thing that will really complete your career. You've done everything except beat The Rock.
Right.
And then that can be the storyline for the rematch. And then obviously you have the newer star go over in the end because he's going to be around longer and be around more moving forward. But yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities, but I do feel like there is a chance that Cody gets screwed in this whole thing. And that'll be really disappointing. But if you're the WWE, this is like the best problem to have. You got 5 guys right now who are worthy of main eventing WrestleMania, even though I begrudgingly say that about Rollins because I can't stand him. But considering how long he's been in the position he's in and yada, yada, yada,
He's
yeah.
doing it. He's the workhorse. He is.
Yeah, he really is. As much as I cannot stand him and his weird way of dressing and acting, and it's just, I'm just like, what is that? Like, what? What the? Like, why? Why?
Because
But whatever,
it's him.
fine. I don't know if it is, but
No, it's not.
It's
It's not
something.
at all him. It's a character that he's trying to portray. That's why it's so
Yeah,
bad.
he's like, what if the Joker was on methamphetamines?
Right.
It's like, what I get out of that?
Mm.
And he didn't wear makeup. That's 2 Seth Rollins characters right now. But you have a great problem to have. You have so many main event level stars right now in that company. So we got the 5. So you got Rollins, Punk, Cody, Roman, The Rock. I'm gonna keep adding to that. You have Drew McIntyre.
Drew,
You have Bobby Lashley. You have man,
LA Knight,
Randy Orton, LA Knight. Man, if we even think of one more name, AJ Styles, that's 10 people right there that all legitimately can be heavyweight title contenders at any given time. How many companies can you say are ever in that position? 10 guys who you could easily,
they never
within
wanted to
2
have that
weeks,
many
be able to write a storyline.
Back in the day, they would never have that many because you couldn't be able to afford to pay all of them.
No, that's why you had like 5 in WCW and 5 in WWE.
Exactly.
Like WWE had Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, Mankind, Shawn Michaels or Kane or whoever. WCW had Hogan, the Outsiders. You had Ric Flair. You had, oh man, you had a lot of Sting, Lex Luger.
Yeah, there was quite a few in WCW.
Booker
Because that's
T.
just because they did it over time too.
So
over the
like,
course of that 4 years, they just stacked their main event with about everybody.
And it's crazy. So this is going to be an era like that time where you're going to have a lot of guys who are so good who are not going to have the main event accolades that maybe they should, and it's only because of how much talent there is right now. Because look back to that era. There's guys who should have won championships who didn't back then. Or they had to switch companies to do it eventually, like Eddie Guerrero and stuff like that.
Right.
Chris Jericho, like he wasn't a world champion in WCW, but he eventually became one and later on, and stayed on that level till now. So I mean, if I'm them, I'm just like, this is great. No matter what we do, we're gonna keep making money hand over fist. Professional wrestling is as big as it's been since probably the Attitude Era, and we can't really look at. I hate when people bring up the TV rating numbers when we talk about that because it's not the same world. We're not watching all that on live TV on cable like we used to. If we were, I would think the numbers would probably be about the same as they were back then, if not higher. For both WWE and AEW would have WCW like numbers when they were doing pretty well. Not to say when they were like at their peak, but when they were doing good. So as a fan, I mean, I don't know how you could be happy with the state of wrestling. Other than people doing dumb shit.
It all depends on how they use the 10 guys, 11, 12, how many guys, because they can use them in some really dumb ways. And we've seen that happen a lot. And so Hunter's been doing a good job lately. He hasn't had way too many like crazy misses yet that I've seen that I haven't really noticed anything like too wild. Like, okay, dude, you need to cut that by next week. And he's letting some dudes go and some ladies go, just have the time of their lives and create too. So that's a good thing. You know, he's letting everybody be a little more like R-Truth and the Judgment Day thing. I love it. And if you
Oh,
throw
that's great.
R-Truth in, if you throw R-Truth in anything, he makes it so much better just by being him. You know, and
Yeah.
you can tell they just let him run. He's one of those guys. It's like, all right, just give him the microphone, let him talk.
Yep.
So
Like, all
it's
right.
like they have some really, really good stuff going. But I can see Cody getting screwed this year. I don't think unless it's SummerSlam. I really think they're gonna give night 2, the main event is gonna be Roman and Rock. For night 1 will be Rollins and Punk, which is funny because when Punk said to MJF in their feud, he said, "Go over to the other company and main event night 1 of a 4-night extravaganza," and all. And
Yeah.
now he's in that spot. So I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, "That's a good, yeah, that's really good."
Yeah.
I
That's
would come back
ironic
to
as fuck.
kick him in his ass. He hasn't really been doing much either. So it's like they got to really step that up. I saw the Drew McIntyre little promo battle, which was good. You know, I'm sure they'll have a match at some point. Probably be Royal Rumble. No, he's in the Rumble. So they're gonna
Yeah.
have to
I
have a
just
singles
don't
match
know.
at some point.
This just goes to my indifference to Punk. I'm like, I don't know a world where I can believe that Punk would beat Drew McIntyre right now.
I know. Look
Like,
at the size, the size difference alone.
yeah, the
Where it's
size
kind of like,
difference,
oh my god.
the just the physical shape difference,
Mm.
the age difference, like everything. I'm just like Drew McIntyre looks like the Terminator right now, and CM Punk looks like Kirby.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, is this even a fair fight? Like, he's gonna turn to marshmallow if you hit him. Like,
He looks like the older guy at the tattoo shop that's fucking sitting there waiting to get booked. That's what he looks like. But yeah,
yeah,
let's move on to the Rumble. The Rumble's coming up soon. What is it? The 27th, I think.
yeah.
Whatever that day is. My
Now,
days are
I have a preface question. Has Seth Rollins had any match booked for the Rumble yet?
uh his next one's gender.
Yep.
I
And
I don't
that's
I don't think so.
so. Is there a chance he ends up in the Rumble? I
I
don't
mean,
really think so because usually the champs aren't in the Rumble, but
they have been
it's
before,
also
but
not
it's
a hard
been
rule either.
bullshit. Yeah, and they've always if they've ever been in it, they've always gotten tossed out. So, I mean, I'm sure they'll come up with something real quick. Who else is there anybody else he's feuding with? I can't even think right now.
Just Punk
Just Punk and Jinder.
and Jinder right now. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll give him the Rumble off. I mean, he deserves a friggin' show off. That
You know
dude,
what
if
I would love to see? I would love to see Jinder beat his ass and take the title, and then fucking
I know,
throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing.
I know you would, but it's not gonna happen.
Don't
It's
ruin
definitely,
my dreams.
it's definitely not gonna happen. But
So
yeah,
I have an
Rumble's
action figure up there with him holding that title. All right,
mm,
it's possible, man.
it
It's
is.
possible.
It happened once before. Does history repeat itself this quick? Who knows? But
Yep.
Rumble, who do you think? I mean, there's obvious answers. I think we've already talked about this. The obvious answers. Who would you dark horse winning the Rumble, male and female?
Dark horse. I'd probably go unexpected win. Dark horse for the women. I'm going to say AJ Lee because for some reason, I
Think
have a
she's
feeling
coming
she's
back?
coming back for the Rumble. Not necessarily to come back for good, but just at least make a Rumble appearance.
Mm,
Because there's those videos recently leaking of her and CM Punk training, which could mean nothing, but they could mean she's getting back in ring shape just for a one-off. So I'll go with her on the female side, and on the male side, I want to cheat and say X-Pac because I was hearing like reading stuff that I've heard him say many a times he's up for it and he could definitely do it physically.
right.
But I did hear some rumblings that he was coming back for it, but I'm not going to go him. Um, for a winner, right?
Yeah, winner.
Dark horse winner, Walter. Sorry, Gunther.
Gunther. I was gonna take Gunther. He was gonna be
I
my
don't even know if
pick.
he's in it.
Yeah, he could win it. They could swerve everybody,
But I
fucking
think he's gonna have a match probably that night. But
we already know that they're gonna find a way to have Roman Rock. So there's only gonna be one championship up for grabs at WrestleMania. And we already know CM Punk is gonna really win the Rumble because that's just the direction they're going. And I don't think Cody's gonna take it. I just don't think so. I think they are gonna he might be a Final Four, obviously. But my dark horse, Gunther, my dark horse for the ladies would be oh, what's that little girl's name? She just came back. Kyrie Sane. I
oh,
think
Kerry, Jesus,
yeah, yep. Give it to her. And then, the whole thing with the Bailey storyline that's been going
I
on with
don't
her.
know.
And
I think it's too soon for that.
it would throw a little something extra into that little storyline that they got going
Maybe.
on that's gonna definitely lead to WrestleMania because that's the only place they want to end that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I really think Punk wins. Females one. I don't have a real nailed down winner. I'm thinking Nia. I think they'll give it to Nia so she can go after Ripley. And then they can
Yeah,
keep
I'm thinking. What's it? Oh God, Bianca Belair. I think is gonna win it.
mhm, to go.
Um,
Who's she gonna go after though? Would she stay on
who are the champs right now? It's
it's
Io Sky
Io Sky and Ripley.
and Ripley. Okay, I think she'd go after Rhea.
Yeah.
That's the big money match.
Mm.
And then in
I'm
the
hearing
male final,
rumblings that they're gonna be turning her heel too. And Rhea's a face, no matter how you look at it. She's a face. She could
yeah,
be
she's too
talking all
popular
the
right
shit
now.
yeah, she can talk all the shit she wants, but she's a face no matter what.
Well, she's one of those people too who can the rare people in a situation where she can heal it up with the
Mm,
Judgment Day, but when she's out there by herself, she's
yeah.
a baby face.
She walks that
But
way.
I think here's my crazy Rumble prediction. I feel like Seth Rollins comes out, somehow gets Punk eliminated. Cody wins the Rumble and challenges Roman Reigns, which causes huge problems for Nick Aldis. And then we see how Nick Aldis comes up with a solution for this problem. Maybe it's a three-way.
He's been doing well.
Usually those aren't great, but I'd be okay with that. And I think actually, being that The Rock hasn't been in a match for quite a while now, um, a three-way actually might be the way to go just to protect him and make sure that he doesn't get gassed and it doesn't come into become
Mm.
a trash match because
He
you can
doesn't
have
get
those
hurt.
spots where he lays outside the ring for 20 minutes.
Mm. Last real match he had, he got all banged up too. So they're definitely gonna want to protect him.
Was that
That
the Cena match?
that Cena match, yeah, he like pulled a muscle in his abdomen and pulled a muscle in his
Oh
shoulder,
yeah,
some crazy shit like that. Yeah, he was all banged up afterwards.
yeah.
But
The Eric Rowan one didn't last long enough to
yeah,
form to
no,
get there. So
it was just a rock bottom and elbow and see you
yeah,
later. You know?
and I hate now how they do the elbow as the last move. Like, no, the rock bottom was the finisher. The elbow was just the warm up to the finisher.
No, they had to flip it, man. The whole fancy pants shit had to go.
Yeah, but it's such a stupid move, really. It's like, oh, I just wasted 10 minutes running around the ring and then I
Right.
dropped the lightest elbow ever on you.
It's like the five knuckle shuffle. It's like Road Dogg's little shaking
Yeah,
and jiving and then dropping his knee and all that bullshit. It's all the same thing.
you know.
It's all for show. That's like the showiest. That's where
Yeah.
it
That's the
kills
shit
your
I
sense
hate in
of
wrestling.
disbelief. Right. That's where you kills your sense of disbelief. So
Yeah,
but
exactly.
all right, my man. I think we're coming to the end of our episode.
End of what?
Shout out to you for joining me as always. Good episode. Another one down. Episode number 10, Culture Corner Wrestling. What do you have coming up, brother? I know we're working on a lot of different things.
Oh man.
You're dropping a
So
single soon.
yeah, January 26th, the next single, 3035 drops. Peep that. Shit's fire. I'm not going to be humble right now. I murder that shit, and everybody should love it, and they should all buy 10 copies of it. Create new emails so you can open up new iTunes accounts so you can download it more. All of that. Just send me money, lots of monies, as Danhausen would say, lots of
Right.
money. But no, I got that dropping January 26th. The album will be dropping at the beginning of February. I was aiming for the 2nd. It may end up being the 16th, but we'll see. Somewhere between the 2nd and 16th, the album will be dropping. And then I got Dastardly Grin 2. I'm actually on Monday going to mix and master and finalize that whole album. So that'll be dropping around the same time. I haven't put an exact date on that, but that'll be within that same time frame probably. So yeah, lots of new music coming. Be on the lookout for that. And then obviously we got new episode of Masters of Gamerverse dropping when? Tomorrow, I think we said.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so on Sunday.
It'll be on the channel whenever you see this.
All right, fair enough. So it'll be up when you see this. Got the new episode, or first episode of 1v1 with Bad Seed. Shout out to the Bad Seed.
That's already out there.
Yep, that's out now for jumping on that. Next episode of that I'll probably be working on within the next week or two and getting that out. I'll name the guest very soon. I'm working on that at the moment. And then we just got more hip hop lifers. Not hip hop lifers, but the happy hour coming up. Yeah, but shout out to the hip hop lifers and Anthony. I know he's a wrestling fan too. Matter of fact, we need to get his ass on here sometime just to talk shit.
He'll be on eventually. He'll be on eventually. We've actually been talking about it recently to get him on the show. So, but yeah, we got a lot of shit coming up. Like Shaw said, check us out. We got like 8 different series and shit going on right now. Check out the blind reviewer, man. Kevin Crisis Cooper, the blind reviewer. He's got the quick looks out there. He does a hell of a job. He does a hell of a job doing that. And by the time this goes up, the next day we'll be live with Let's Talk About at 6:00. That we're encouraging you guys to join us. Just click the link that's going to be in the description. Follow the 2 steps. That's all you got to do, and then you'll be on camera with us, and we'll talk. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man. For Charlotte Mental, Brad Bailey, Culture Corner Wrestling. We out. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
He's going for the gorilla press. He did it. Oh, no, leave it. It's over.
My life story like Black Rob drinking OE. That brolic shit broken down like Matt Hardy. See through these eyes and people my mind see. It's fucked up, ain't it? No need to remind